No, your eyes are not deceiving you. That's not the real car, but it's pretty darn close. Hollywood, Stephen Lorenko behind the wheel. One of the main sponsors here for the SMSI Pure Stocks. Springfield Mechanical Services putting up extra money. Third annual event for this race for the Pure Stocks. Used to be down at Dallas County Speedway. That track closed. They now have moved to Lucas Oil Speedway and a replica of Dale Earnhardt's number 3 Goodwrench ride. Robert Claunch putting the graphics together for that, and it makes sense.
Yeah, he
has to pass somebody.
It was tradition for Earnhardt to pass the pace truck once in a while, or pace car, so that only makes sense.
So he will pace the Pure Stocks right behind the Bill Roberts Chevrolet pace truck. You think he'd let me take 1 or 2 laps around here?
Well, you have to talk to him if you talked really nice.
21 Pure Stocks making the call tonight for their main event. Big payday for them as well. Grid will look like this. Mark Simon from just down the road in Buffalo, Missouri. He will be on the pole with Bobby Brown on his outside. He calls Hume, Missouri home in the 136.
Mason Beck, the Urbana, Missouri, number 5 on inside row number 2. Darren Porter, he is from California, Missouri in that 21.
Rob White Jr. brought that car out a couple of weeks ago as a pure stock. Used to run a stock car. The number 99 will start inside row number 3. And Trevor the Torch Wilson from Fulton, Missouri, outside of him in the 30.
The 19 from Buffalo, Missouri, that is Trenton Houston. And Robbie Jones, Osceola, Missouri, in the 20.
Peyton McDowell's from Tuscumbia, Missouri, starting inside row number 5. And Spencer Rife is outside from Kansas City in the 7.
Grayson McKinney, he comes from Springfield, Missouri, in the 05. And the 7 car from Jerome, Missouri, that's Shannon Geller.
Dylan Bowman from Purdy, Missouri starts inside row number 7. Chris Messerly's from California. He pilots the 88 starting in 14.
Justin McDowell, the Tuscumbia, number 5 on the inside. Row number 8, Jordan Goddard, Rogersville, Missouri, the 07 on the outside.
Milo, Missouri's Josh Payton. Mr. Quiet is his nickname. If you talk to him, you'll understand why. He starts in 17th, and Shane Headley on his outside from Buffalo in the 14.
Shane Haley, Centertown, Missouri, the 17. Kristen Oley, Fairgrove, Missouri, the 71, and Dennis Crenshaw. He comes from Osceola, Missouri, the 54. That'll round out your field.
A couple more fireworks from AM Pyrotechnics. Mike Striegel tells Steve Lorenko, get off the track. We're ready to go. He will follow the Bill Roberts Chevrolet pace truck back to the pit area. As you see the fireworks from the infield. And Mark Simon. He's driven a late model. He's driven a stock car, and now he pilots a pure stock with 12 wins on the season. He had 2 top 10s here throughout the campaign. He will start on the pole. Bobby Brown on his outside. I asked him what your nickname is. Someone said Downtown Bobby Brown. I said everybody with the last name Brown has that. He says, well, how about Upside Down Bobby Brown? He rolled a B-mod earlier this year, so it makes sense.
Well, yeah, but that's not a race driver's name that you really
you don't want to be Upside Down Bobby Brown.
1 to go, given to the field by the Wheatland Outlaw. Mike Striegel on that fully equipment flag stand. Well, who are we betting on here, Shane? Who you think?
I don't even want to take a stab at it. I would have been wrong 4 times in the late model feature, so I don't even want to attempt to put up a guess. If I had to, if you twisted my arm, I'd say Mason Beck.
I'd say that's a good choice. I would counter that with 23 of Mark Simon.
And I would counter your counter with Darren Porter. You're number 1 in the national point standings for a reason. You've won 15 times, and you're starting outside row number 2. Pretty good starting spot for Darren Porter. Wheel to wheel, door handle to door handle, bumper to bumper. We're underway, and Rob White Jr., nobody mentioned my name. I want to get up into the mix as he battles for the lead on lap number 1.
Well, there's a caution came out because of that, I do believe.
Boone's Barbecue caution says no go. Had some issues with this class earlier on with starts and wanting to make sure that everybody was on the same page. And Mike Striegel, the Wheatland Outlaw, Magic Mike on the flag stand. And from race control, yes, Doug, you're right. That was the little jump start that the 99 had from inside row number 3.
That's not a trick that Mike hasn't pulled before somewhere along the line.
Rob White's probably looking up like, man, I learned that move from you, Mike. So we'll restack them, repack them. Try it again for the Power Eye Pure Stocks. 4 of the top 5 of the national point standings, all here at Lucas Oil Speedway tonight. Green in the air, much better start, and Mark Simon will lead him into turn 1.
A whole lot of jostling going on up front. It is Mark Simon, the 23 so far, but Darren Porter, the gentleman that you mentioned, looking on the high side of that 21 car, bringing him around first lap. It's going to be Simon with the lead.
Bobby Brown got shuffled out of P2. He is now mid-pack all the way back to 9th. Did not take him long at all to drop back and set anchor. Mark Simon leads, and Mason Beck, who won last night, runs in second, but a spin will bring the caution out, and it's brought out by Shane Headley out of Buffalo. Actually, it doesn't come out. They stay green. I thought the yellow would come out. They waited and waited and waited, and they waited long enough for Shane Headley to get it straightened back up. And now Mason Beck to the outside he goes.
And 19 going way high up in turn number 4. Something must have broke on that. He's going to take the hard right turn. That's Mr. Houston going off here over in turn 2.
Yeah, Trenton Houston was not here for night 1 of the Fall Brawl, a winner at Midway this year. As now you see the caution does come out. The hand came out the window of Mason Beck, signaling that the field was woeing down. And that comes out for a car that's already ducked back into the garage area. So Mason Beck grabs the early lead, holding it over Mark Simon. Rob White Jr. back in third. And that caution was brought out for the 54 of Dennis Crenshaw, who started dead last.
The 19 of Houston in the hot pit now. It looks like they're trying to get a tire change or something over there.
So for being this late in the year, and this is always the chance you take with weather, with high school football, with college football, is losing some attendance as far as the cars go. Got to say, good car count for all 4 classes that came in, all of them around that 20 car mark, and especially for a 2-day show. And with the American Iron Racing Series, all of those drivers coming in from at least around 6 hours away. Have to give a big round of applause to everybody in the pit area for dedicating a 2-day weekend this late in the year to be able to come out. And especially a big kudos to the staff here at Lucas Oil Speedway, as well as our entire production crew. And Audible, it's like Peyton Manning calling Omaha, Omaha. We were supposed to be here for a 7 o'clock start tonight, with weather threatening and moving in with severe thunderstorms due into this area in about the next 3 or 4 hours. Wanted to make sure we got it in. Everybody bumped their schedule up, made it possible to be here tonight, or this afternoon, I should say. And Mark Simon had to go back to the last completed lap. So Mark Simon will be ahead of Mason Beck this time. Rob White Jr. side by side for second. And here comes the torch. Trevor Wilson to the outside, a 3-car battle for back and forth.
And 99 of Rob White on the move, side by side with him and the 5 of Mason Beck, both as they go around. The 23 still out front, Mark Simon, but here comes the 30. You were talking about him a little bit earlier. That's Trevor Wilson, the Fulton, Missouri native. Looks on the high side, is caution out over on turn number 4 in the straightaway. I believe that's the 7, Mr. Rafe.
Yep. Brings out the caution. Another car, Chris Messerly, parks it on the infield, as Rife has a flat left rear, and he's headed back to the pit area. We'll get everybody lined back out. Having a tough time getting this one going. A 25-lap feature. We're only 3 laps in. We'll see if we can rattle some laps off when we return. It is Night of Speed from Lucas Oil Speedway. Spencer Rive heads back out to the track. He's got that flat tire fixed. Another car had some damage. He goes to the top side of turn 2, gets it taken care of. So they will both go to the tailback. Mark Simon doing everything he can to hold off Mason Beck and Rob White Jr. Delaware double file restart. Back behind Mark Simon.
Nice thing on that, Shane, as you go along, Simon, who is out front, has been out front, has an idea of what these two cars behind him are going to do as far as on the restart, so he knows where he needs to go or needs to be.
Yes, you're right, but I think to a point it comes to they're going to go every which way. Mark Simon can't block both of them at the same time, so just try to get out in front as much as you can, and he will. As Rob White Jr. and Mason Beck stay side by side, and Trevor Wilson goes back to the top. Tries to find a little bit of a grip, but there's more dust up there than anything on this hot day with sunshine blaring down from the sky. Getting this track drying out, and a big hit mid-pack. Chris Tonoli gets his rear end up in the air, and the entire right side of his car is shredded.
Wow.
Shannon Geller, you see the damage on the side of his car. The 7G is all torn up. One other car was involved in that, and he has already left the scene. But a massive hit for Chris Tonoli, a 4-time winner this year. Has won at 4 different tracks. Lots of damage on Geller's car as well. Out of Jerome, Missouri.
I wonder if the Troll's okay.
Yeah, the Troll is on there.
Good.
But I don't think he's going to have much of a car left after he gets all that sheet metal taken off from over in turn number 2. So Shane Geller, same way. We've gotten some sheet metal torn off of this. Wait till you see the 71 go to the top side.
Well, he's up there now.
You can see through the car.
Yeah.
And there you see him trying to put it back. This may take a little. There, no, it's the duct tape. It's the 200-mile-an-hour duct tape.
It's going to be that or a big staple gun, one or the other.
There aren't enough pop rivets. So no front end on Geller's car. And I love how the duct tape almost matches the pink color on Tonoli's ride.
Maybe they got various colors of duct tape just in case that happens.
Well, as they continue to tape Chris Tonoli up, Mark Simon leads over Mason Beck and Rob White Jr. Fall Brawl night number 2 is off to a slow start for our final race. We have only gotten 3 laps in as Mark Simon leads, 22 laps to go. They continue to work on Geller's car over in turn 2. Back out on the track he comes. While the biggest hit in that goes to the 71 of Cristanoli, probably had the most damage. There you see the right side, literally, it is duct tape up. That's the only thing holding that right side up right now. Since he did not stop on the track, he kept in the loud pedal, he gets his spot back. The cars that stopped in Geller, he has to go back to the back because he halted progress. And Mark Simon, again, only 3 laps down so far for the pure stocks. Green back in the air and underway.
As soon as they go along, it is Mark Simon at 23 up front. Side by side action for that second spot. It is the 5 of Mason Beck, the 99. As they come around, that is Robert White. White, the Lebanon, Missouri native. They are side by side for that second spot behind Simon.
Rob White bought that car middle of the season. Went up and got it from Chet Yates. That's why it still says Yates on the bottom skirt. Ran a stock car race just for a test in tune, and then comes out for the fall brawl and having a good run. Whenever he ran in the stock car, obviously not going to have the speed as some of those other cars, but it just was not handling. It was wicked. They've evidently tuned it up to where he is good to go. And now Trevor Wilson working to the outside of Grayson McKinney in the 05. Grayson out of Springfield. He's a 4-time winner this year in that 05 ride. He's won at Dallas County, won at Monette, Bolivar, and Springfield this year. Won that one race they had down at DCS on the final lap. He was the 2021 INEX Legends Semi-Pro champ in the state of Missouri. And now Mason Beck starts to reel in your race leader and Mark Simon, not letting him get away.
Beck and Simon up front, walking away from the rest of the field. The 99 of White a ways back in that third spot. Now Beck looks to the low side. Cannot take anything this time. Lap number 8 in the books.
Now Mason Beck looking to the inside. Mark Simon won his heat race over Rob White. Mason Beck finished second in his heat race to Trevor Wilson, and now the caution out. It flies again for debris over in turn 2.
Yeah, something coming off those cars. Of course, a couple of them we were talking about being duct taped up. Maybe the culprits this time. So as they come along, it was Mason Beck who was just looking for a way around the 23 of Simon as that caution came out. So it's going to put him back to that second spot. He's going to have to find a little more momentum. I think Beck looks to be a lot better on a longer run, whereas Simon is fast off the go.
No, we really haven't had any long runs. That stretch right there was the longest run we'd have. We went from lap 3 to lap 8, so a 5-lap sprint. But again, we are still very early in our 25-lap feature.
Rob White, the 99, also fast as they go around. Wilson in that 30 car is showing glimpses of speed, but so far he hasn't had anything to do with McKinney or the 99 of White.
We run a handful of pure stock races throughout the year here. Mason Beck won back on July 20th. He's ran 2 pure stock races here, won both of the ones that he ran. That included 6 wins, or he also had 6 wins in his stock car. He's totaled for 14 victories on the year. Mark Simon's got 12 wins. Mark Simon used to run a late model. I live in the Buffalo area, which is about 40 minutes from here in Wheatland. Whenever I drive to Bolivar, I pass through or pass by his shop, and he's got cars sitting out in front. He has sold 2 of his 3 late models over the last 2 weekends. So he is down to 1 late model. And we're going to have another debris caution before too long as Shane Geller has sheet metal flapping onto the left side of his car, but he is deep in the field. We'll see how long that will stay attached. As we're back to green flag racing action, and Beck goes to the outside. Mason Beck utilizes the tackiness on the top, and now Rob White Jr. looks to do the same thing to the inside.
Yeah, as they come around, it is Rob White Jr. now looks to the inside of Simon, as it is side by side between Beck and Simon for that lead. Now, Beck, the 5 car from Urbana, Missouri, takes that spot away. The battle continues, though, for second between the 99 and the 23, but here comes McKinney in the 05.
Mentioned this is grassroots racing at its finest. Pure stocks. We saw the vintage cars earlier, and now Chris Tonoli, who was involved in an incident but kept going, had major body damage on that ride. He is now to the inside of a 4-way battle. This is for second. Contact made. Grayson McKinney comes from the middle of the pack. Tonoli cuts to the inside, and now Mark Simon, who had led the early portion of this race, spins. Can he get going? No, he can't. The Boone's Barbecue caution will come out again, as we were 4 wide for second. Mason Beck was free and clear, but Chris Tonoli surfaces from this mess after contact, cutting up in front of Rob White Jr. Grayson McKinney out in front of Mark Simon, and Simon, who is up on the top side, just trying to stay up with that group. Too much of the loud pedal. Spins it around as he gets loose and nearly gets tagged right there by the 216 of Peyton McDowell. So Mark Simon, who had been leading this race in the early going, is now dead last after the spin.
Tough luck for Simon, too, because he's had a fast car all weekend long. Even in his heat races last night, he had an incredible car. So hopefully he's got enough laps to be able to get back up there. 14. We're still not halfway through, so he's got quite a few laps left to go.
Yeah, you got plenty of time. If you're Chris Tonoli, you started this race in 20th, and now you're second.
Yeah, I can see the Troll is hanging on hard.
Oh, yeah, Troll's still there. I want to know what type of super glue they put on the top of that car to make sure the Troll didn't go anywhere after the hit that he took early on in this race. If the Troll's still there, maybe it's that Gorilla Glue they keep talking about on TV.
You know, or some of that 200-mile-an-hour tape. Well, it looks like yellow light is out, Shane. We're going to go green flag out of turn number 4. That means Mason Beck will bring them around.
I know that Lucas Products makes some fantastic lubricants. Maybe they make an adhesive that is just as good, just on the other end of the spectrum, making sure that Troll doesn't come off the top of his car.
There you go. That 7 car, a lot of damage.
Lots of damage. Chris Tonoli, maybe all of that damage on the car made him faster. He goes from 20th to 2nd, and now he battles Mason Beck for the lead. They lean on each other through turns 1 and 2. Tonoli keeps it clean. Side by side for the lead, side by side for third. What a show by these POWRi Pure stocks.
Yeah, incredible way to go as they go around. Mason Beck, the street car or stock car champion for here at the track, but we have a caution up in turn number 4.
I believe that's Josh Payton again, the quiet man. Yep, there he is, the quiet man. You see the logo there on the back? And he is all wadded up on the top side of turn number 4. This will take the Hobby Time Motorsports a little time to get him taken care of, as they send 5 able-bodied men up to take care of the 92. We're going to step aside, take a quick break, and return. We have almost reached the midway point, 12 down, 13 to go from here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Mason Beck leads. Chris Tonoli in second has chosen to go to the inside. Grayson McKinney to the outside. Last chance for a double file restart as this race has drug on now for a considerable amount of time. Only 12 laps in with 13 to go. And Mason Beck has been able to fend off all contenders so far. Chris Tonoli had the best shot at it on the last restart looking to the inside. Both he and Grayson McKinney will fall 3 car lengths behind Mason Beck as we complete lap number 13.
Talk about the damage on that 71 car has not seemed to slow him down. He has been incredibly fast ever since that happened. Now moving up into that second spot and around McKinney, it is the 71 of Chris Tonoli. He has Mason Beck in his sights.
Tonoli with the troll right along. On the back of the top side of the 71. Grayson McKinney now to the inside. A look down the back stretch from our turn 3 camera way high atop here at Lucas Oil Speedway sees Grayson McKinney looking to the inside of Chris Tonoli. The choo-choo train is on the bottom of the track right now. Pretty much single file racing from third on back. Tonoli a little higher on the track than what Grayson McKinney is. And that has allowed Mason Beck to start to pull away. Almost a full second advantage. And Beck is turning the fastest laps of anyone out on the track right now, and rightfully so. When you're out in clean air, you pick your line. You usually turn the fastest laps, and he's done it again, but Chris Tonoli is staying right with him.
Car down here in turn number 4 looks like maybe stalled out. Caution will come out. Boone's Barbecue. Caution. Believe that's a 23 of Mark Simon bringing out the caution again. And he is going to take the hard right turn over in turn number 2.
Yep, second time that has happened. A rule here at Lucas Oil Speedway. You spin out twice, your night's done.
Unfortunate for the 23 as he's had as we said earlier, he's had a fast car all weekend long. And just not having good luck here today.
And you see the damage on the right side of the 136 of upside down Bobby Brown. Sorry, I'm going to say it one last time. No more after that.
Oh, yeah, you will.
Nope, I'm not going to. Had a good run last night. Had a top 5 finish, but had a wire come off and was deemed illegal. Got disqualified after the race last night after having a top 5 run. Wanted to bounce back and have a better run. Bobby's won 7 times this year at Electric City, 3 times at Nevada. He won the championship up at EC in this division. So 10 wins this year for a driver that didn't win at all in 2022. Has 11 career wins to his credit. And a single file restart this time. Mason Beck. He is the head of the conga line. Chris Tonoli to the top side.
As they come around, 16 laps in the books, 9 left to go here tonight. It is the 5. That is Mason Beck. Beck brings him around the 71 of Tonoli in that second spot, but here comes the 05. That is Grayson McKinney. McKinney now looks to get around the 71.
Well, I can't help but think that Mason Beck has the field covered right now. Chris Tonoli has shown the only sign of anybody having anything for Mason Beck, and that was a couple of restarts ago whenever he worked to the inside. But since then, and now that we're down to single file restarts with 7 laps to go, have to think that Mason Beck may indeed have another win at Lucas Oil Speedway, a 3rd in a pure stock in back-to-back nights, unless somebody can upset the apple cart, and Chris Tonoli is the only one in position to be able to do that.
Tonoli now trying to reel in the leader, Mason Beck. Tonoli great on the corners, but Beck gets to walk away from him on the straightaway. A little more horsepower underneath that hood as they roll through. It is the 5 of Mason Beck, the 71 of Tonoli, the 05 of Grayson as they come through this time.
Chris Tonoli's 4 wins. 1 came in a B-Mod. That was at Bolivar. And then 3 pure stock wins, 1 at Midway, 1 at Monette, and 1 at Electric City. Would love to pick up his 5th win at a 5th track on the season, as he is 3 car lengths behind Mason Beck. Dives into that lead a little more as he will start to reel in your champ here at Lucas Oil Speedway in a stock car. Tonoli gets right up on the back bumper this time. 3 to go as they cross underneath the Foley Equipment flag stand. Another spin. This time it's Trenton Houston, and the Boone's Barbecue caution will come out. The spin for Trenton Houston, a winner at Midway in June. His only win of the season. He has 14 top fives. He is out of Buffalo, Missouri. And as they circle the track, they'll go back a lap in scoring again. No doubt Mason Beck has been your leader, but that was one of the hardest charges. As you see, your current national point standings leader in Darren Porter headed back to the pit area. He is number 1 in the Power Eye Pure Stock standings for 2023 with 15 wins. And he may take a pretty good hit in the points after this weekend. As far as the national standings go, he is the current leader with 5,890 points. I'll look up the national standings here and see if anyone else is within shouting distance of him. And Trevor Wilson is only 50 points back. And Trevor Wilson, tonight at least, trying to knife into that lead, and he's going to do it as he is running 4th right now. So a big hit in the points for Porter as they get the 1 to go from Mike Striegel on the flag stand. Mason Beck still leads Chris Tonoli. Tonoli had gotten right up on the back bumper of Mason Beck before that last caution came out. Slow restart for Mason Beck off of 4. That allows Chris Tonoli to stay right with him. Gets up underneath the back bumper of Mason Beck down the front stretch. To the outside, Tonoli will go this time. He had been looking inside every lap right up until then, and I think Mason Beck knew it, and Chris Tonoli capitalized on it. Side by side through 3 and 4. They get the 2 to go. 2 sticks in the air, and we're side by side. A tight battle between Beck to the inside of Chris Tonoli. Tonoli with a nose out in front. They'll get the white to go. This time around, 1 more circuit, 3/8 of a mile left, and can Chris Tonoli go from 20th to 1st? He did it that time around as he leads Mason Beck. Beck leans on him off of turn 2. You see the contact, not once but twice. Beck will get into him again. Now Tonoli, bottom side of 3 and 4. Mason Beck, up the track he goes. He cuts a tire, and Chris Tonoli, he will win. Involved in an incident that tears his car to pieces. Early on in the race, he started in 20th. He is able to rally for the win. Chris Tonoli takes it at Lucas Oil Speedway. Chris Tonoli wins. Robbie Jones jumps up into the top 5. Mason Beck, he drops back to 3rd. Grayson McKinney was 2nd. Robbie Jones 3rd. Mason Beck falls back to 4th. Then it's Peyton McDowell, Trevor Wilson, Justin McDowell, Jordan Goddard, Dylan Bowman, and Shannon Geller, your top 10. As Chris Tonoli wins for the 5th time this year at the 5th track he's competed in. And we'll hear from the beat-up 71 whenever he comes back out. Fall Brawl night number 2 did not disappoint as Chris Tonoli wins in the Pure Stocks.